In this video, we're going to be talking about parental attachment. Now, when I talk about parental attachment, it's really any caregiver for a child. And parental attachment is important from the day a child is born. If for some reason there was a separation between parent and child in infancy, then you can always talk to me directly or comment under this video, but there's always room for parental attachment. You just might have to cover some different ground or do things a little bit differently to make up for the lack of parental attachment prior to when you realize that it's important and have decided to do it. I'm Coach Red. I'm a life coach and I'm also a health and wellness coach. And you can always like my videos if you like them, and let me know how you do when you take some of the advice in these videos. I love to hear successes, and I also love to hear where there's room for improvement or where you tried something and it was difficult. So please share with me and my audience what happens when you try these things, because it's not always straightforward, and I want all of you to have peace in your families, and I want all children to feel safe at all times. So parental attachment, what is that? In human development, there's something fundamental that shapes our lives from the very beginning, and that thing is connection. So parental attachment is all about connection. If you want to hear more about connection and other things, please subscribe to my channel so that you never miss a video when it's posted. And I post about once a week, so you don't want to miss anything. Lots of great information I'm posting for you. The need for connection is deeply rooted in our biology. So science supports our need for connection. Keep that in mind. I'm not just making this up. Attachment formed between a child and a parent or their caregiver holds particular significance in the need for connection. Parental attachment refers to the deep emotional bond that develops between a child and their primary caregivers. Often it's the parents, but not always. So keep that in mind in this video. When I discuss parents, I'm talking about primary caregivers and grandparents and foster parents and just primary caregivers for children and young people. Building a strong parent-child connection requires intentional effort, consistent nurturing, and effective communication. It doesn't just happen by accident. It's like, oh, I happen to be attached to my child, or, oh, my child is so well adjusted. Isn't that wonderful? It just doesn't happen by accident. We have to be intentional in creating that. And there's reasons that would be important, and I can go into that in another video. But if you find your child is getting more attached to their peers and their friends, and what they do and what they say matter more than what you do and you say, and they don't want to do the right thing just because they don't want to disappoint you, or they don't want something to happen to the relationship between you, it's a red flag. That's all I'm saying. So we're talking all about connection. I'm not trying to scare you. This video is not about scaring, and it's not about talking about everything that could go wrong in the world. But I'll tell you one thing, if we had more attachment to adults, a lot of the dangers that are in the world now, and the mass shootings and people feeling unheard and unknown, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen in a world where we're more attached to adults than to peers. So listen up and try to create this in your own home, okay? Respond promptly and sensitively to your child's needs for comfort and reassurance. This helps children develop a sense of trust and security. Who doesn't need trust and security? So I'll just repeat that. Respond promptly and sensitively to your child's needs for comfort and reassurance in order to develop their sense of trust and security. Be present and emotionally attuned to your child's emotions. Validate their feelings. I know I've said that many times in other videos. And provide a safe space for expression, fostering open communication. In other words, make sure your kids can come to you when they need to. Make sure they know that you're open and you're safe. And if they ever have anything they need to discuss, that they can discuss it with you. Spend quality time with your child, engaging in activities and things that they like, shared experiences that promote bonding. This is creating an opportunity for connection and strengthens the parent-child relationship. So camping, shopping together, watching a movie together, taking a walk together, walking the dog together, even doing chores like cooking home meals together. Parent-child bond, that's what this whole video is about. Establish consistent routines and boundaries to create a sense of safety and predictability for your child. For what does this promote? Stability, and reinforces the attachment bond. That's what all of this is about, reinforcing attachment bonds. Now, who doesn't need stability? Everyone needs stability. I'll give you a little personal story that most of my children's life, I was a single mom and I struggled financially. So we kept moving. I would move to one apartment and I'd be able to afford it. And then we'd move into another place and I could afford it. And then the rent would go up and I'd need to go to another place. So we moved around a lot. And that really was hard for my children, and they don't love it. And today they want a lot more stability in their adult life. But one thing I did was they had me. No matter where we lived and no matter where we went and what we did, it was always within the same 2 cities, more or less. But they always knew they could count on me to be there to pick them up from school or to let them know who was picking them up from school. They knew where I was, where I would be, when I would come back, and they always knew I was there for them, always. So I was not able to create a stable house and shelter. I created house and shelter, not the same one all the time. But I created a stable base, a foundation for parent-child relationship that they can always come to me, and they knew I would be there and I was always there for them. So that's what consistent routine looks like. They knew when I went to school and when I came back. So that's consistency. That's what the kids need. The next thing I want to talk about is empathy. I talk about that a lot. I think I even have a full video on empathy because it's so important for connection. Try to see the world through your child's eyes, through your teenager's eyes, through your toddler's eyes. Understand their perspective and validate their experience. This enhances empathy and strengthens what? Parental attachments and emotional connection and the attachment bond that this whole video is about. So, empathy. If your child is wrong, like a certain thing happened and they remember it wrong, that's just validate their experience. Unless it's harmful to do so. So unless they're making something up that hurts themselves or others. But if it's just an experience and they just remember it in a certain way, you at least validate their experience and say, oh, that's so interesting because how I remember it is, that's all. And like, oh, wow, we have different we remember that same story differently. Isn't that interesting? And that teaches them to have empathy for you too. It teaches how it goes both ways. The bottom line is we all need connection. We're all in this world. We don't want to feel alone. We don't want to hurt ourselves. We don't want to hurt others. People who feel alone and aren't able to thrive and aren't connected to others sometimes do things that get in the news. People want more personal attention. For example, you might want more personal attention on this topic. And if you do, call me Coach Red. Thank you for watching. You can always check me out at CoachRed1.com for lots of blog posts and videos and other important information that you can use as a parent or in life. Please subscribe and click the notification button so that you never miss a video from Coach Red.